I think one of the fascinating things about sports is the fact that you can have a spectacular team who everyone expects to win the championship and they just don't do it. It just goes to show you that nothing in this life is guaranteed. Just because they don't win the ultimate prize, though, doesn't mean that they should be forgotten and tossed to the wayside. After all, those teams were probably fun to watch on a regular basis, so they should never be forgotten. This is In Remembrance, and this episode we have the 2006 San Diego Superchargers. If you're a fan of the Chargers, I apologize, but what the bro? How did this team not win a championship? It's insane. Come on, let's hop in the DeLorean and take a trip back. The day is August 14th, 1040 AD, or whatever. Macbeth kills his rival cousin, King Duncan of Scotland, in battle. People were weird as back then, I don't know. That's crazy. In 1945, Japan unconditionally surrenders, ending World War II. And 14 years later, Baron Hilton, yes, the grandfather of Paris Hilton, was awarded a brand new football franchise, one that will be in the brand new American Football League. That team would be the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers had immediate success winning the league's Western Division in 1960. However, the good people of LA were not amused. They were like, okay. So Baron was like, okay, that's fine.
I don't need y'all anyway. I'm rich, bitch.
And proceeded to move his team 120 miles south to glorious San Diego. There, it was time for a new era, the Sid Gilman era, with stars like Keith Lincoln, Ron Mix, and Lance Alworth. The new San Diego Chargers turned into a powerhouse, winning 5 divisional championships in 6 years. In 1967, the team moved to Qualcomm Stadium and then win a divisional championship for another 13 years until 1979. The Chargers under Gilman posted the 87-57-6 record, making it the best in Chargers history. But if you ask your father or uncle, they might tell you that the Chargers under Don Coryell were probably the best Charger teams. They were so good that they were given the nickname Air Coryell. Before the Chiefs, this was the offense that set the records through the air. This era featured Dan Fouts, Charlie Joyner, Kellen Winslow, John Jefferson, Wes Chandler, and Chuck Muncie. They led the league in passing yards for 6 straight seasons from 1978 to 1983, and then once again in 1985, averaging 28 points per game from 1979 to 1982. Dan Fouts passed for over 4,000 yards in a single season 3 times, including his record-breaking 4,802-yard performance in 1981. Chuck Muncie is important to highlight because his 39 touchdowns from 1981 to 1983 kept defenses honest and helped open up the passing game even more. As great as the Chargers were in the 60s and late 70s and early 80s, we are not here to talk about them. We are talking about the 2006 San Diego Chargers. So, let's go back to the future, I suppose. That's where we're going now. We could have started this out in a number of places, but I think a good year to anchor down is 2002. This is the year when the San Diego Chargers hired Marty Schottenheimer to be their head coach. Schottenheimer just got fired by the Washington football team after moving the team in what seemed like the right direction. And this was after only completing 1 year of his contract. The Chargers then signed Marty to a 4-year, $10 million contract in hopes to turn things around. At the time, the Chargers were coming off their 6th consecutive season in which they missed the playoffs, capped off by a 2000 and 2001 season where the team only won 6 games in total. When Marty took over, the team had Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson, who were coming off rookie seasons. This was a roster that also included the likes of Marcellus Wiley, Quentin Jammer, who they just drafted, Rodney Harrison, Donnie Edwards, and the late great Junior Seau. In Marty's first season, he led the team to a modest 8-8 record. The following season, the 2003-2004 season, the team got off to a terrible 2-9 start, which saw second-year Drew Brees get benched for Doug Flutie, who I love. In Week 8, the team finished 4-12. Now, this is important to note because this awarded the Chargers the number 1 pick in the draft. This is the infamous draft where Eli Manning decided that he did not want to be drafted to the Chargers and then told him he would not play if they had done so. If you're a Giants fan, then it's probably not so infamous. So the Chargers ended up swapping picks with the Giants. So now we have the Chargers with Phillip Rivers and the Giants with Eli Manning. So what about Drew Brees? Yeah, remember that 2003-2004 season where the team started out 2-9? That scared the Chargers into taking another QB if that wasn't clear at first. However, Drew Brees still started the 2004 season as the starter. And the only reason that happened is because Phillip Rivers held out for half of the preseason. Brees wasn't selected as the starter until 6 days before the season opener. This must have lit a fire under Drew Brees because he turned in his best season yet, passing for 3,159 yards, 27 touchdowns with only 7 interceptions. He also had a passer rating of 104.8, ranking behind Dante Culpepper and Peyton Manning. He also led the Chargers to a 12-4 record and a playoff appearance where they lost to the New York Jets in the first round. The what? Because of this, Drew Brees was awarded the AP's Comeback Player of the Year. Then he dropped this gem on us. There are negative things that are going to happen, and that's all a part of the building process. You can't give up, he said. You always have to have that attitude that your goals will be achieved. You've just got to keep grinding away. And if not this year, then next year. And if not next year, then the year after. You just keep believing, and it will happen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the real spiel with Drew Brees. Chargers suffered a first-round exit. They had a nice first-round draft pick waiting for them as a part of the package they got for Eli Manning. They used that draft pick to get promising pass rusher Sean Merriman. Side note, I met Sean Merriman's mom and she showed me pro photos of him playing for the Chargers when I was young. It was pretty cool. Anyway, Merriman had an immediate impact, winning Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2005. That same year, the Chargers went 9-7. On the last game of the season, while trying to recover a fumble, Drew Brees tore his labrum in his throwing shoulder. He also damaged his rotator cuff and dislocated that said shoulder. The injury would require Brees to have surgery in the offseason, and this prompted the Chargers to proceed with caution when trying to sign Drew Brees to a new contract. They offered him a 5-year contract, but the contract was incentive-based and had little guaranteed money. Add the fact that the Chargers drafted Phillip Rivers, and you have cause for a split-up. Drew Brees took his talents to New Orleans, and the rest is history. Phillip Rivers was set to start the season as the starting QB for the first time ever. His time had arrived. Boy, did he have an amazing squad around him to make things easier. I mean, this team is absolutely stacked. LT, Pro Bowler. Lorenzo Neal, Pro Bowler. The veteran Keenan McCardell. Antonio Gates, Pro Bowler. Marcus McNeil, Pro Bowler. Nick Hardwick, Pro Bowler. Jamal Williams, Pro Bowler. Sean Merriman, Pro Bowler. Sean Phillips, Quentin Jammer, Drayton Florence, a young Antonio Cromartie, Malcolm Floyd, Michael Turner, and the late, great Vincent Jackson. Also, a huge shout out to Bowling Green product, Scott Murkowski. Go Falcons. But bruh, this is a ridiculous collection of talents to have on one team. Seriously, this is the definition of stacked. Like 2007 Dallas Cowboys stacked. Sorry about that. So it came as no surprise that they got off to a 2-0 start where they outscored their opponent 67-7. Their second and only loss of the season came in Week 7. They would then ensue to go on a 10-game winning streak to close out the season, winning close games that required little scoring and games that required shootouts. They also had an amazing running attack with LT, Michael Turner, and Lorenzo Neal. LT ended up breaking the single-season rushing record for touchdowns, a record that still stands today. Phillip Rivers threw for 3,388 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 9 picks. Antonio Gates caught 71 passes for 924 yards and 9 touchdowns. On the defensive side of things, Sean Merriman and Sean Phillips combined for 28.5 sacks, and Jamal Williams was also a Pro Bowl selection. And he was just one of 9 Pro Bowlers that the Chargers sent to Hawaii that year, easily the most in the league. I mean, this team was destined for postseason success. Everything was alright in sunny San Diego. They had the first round bye as they awaited their opponent for the divisional round. That would happen to be none other than the New England motherfucking Patriots. Of course it is. The Patriots finished the regular season 12-4 and just had beaten the Jets 37-16 in the wild card round. Seriously, the Jets again. Okay. The game was to be played on January 14th, 2007 during the cold and, the gritty football weather, I suppose. But nope, not San Diego. It was going to be 75 degrees and clear skies. That sounds a little bit more perfect to me. If you're asking me, you're probably not, but it's okay. Even with home field advantage and spectacular weather, the Chargers knew that they had to be on their absolute A game to beat the Patriots. In 2019, Sean Merriman went on to say, "My mentality always changed when playing Tom Brady and also Bill Belichick. You want to treat every game like it's the next. But in that case, it's really not. You're going against probably the greatest quarterback of all time and probably the greatest coach of all time, or one of. The mentality switches because you know you have to be on your A game. You know you can't make mistakes and do anything that is going to put them in a better situation to win. The stage was set for an instant classic between two very good teams, and that's what it turned out to be. The Chargers jumped out to a 14-3 lead and would be in control most of the game, keeping the lead until the fourth quarter. The only reason it was that close is because the Chargers made some key mistakes along the way. None more costly than Marlon McCree's fumble after a pick that would have surely sealed the deal for the Chargers. He should have just went down, honestly. The Patriots would go on to tie the game, and then they would take a 3-point lead late in the fourth quarter. Man, it would come down to a field goal that Chargers kicker Nate Kading had to make. Kading, whom I forgot to mention, was the other player that the Chargers drafted with one of the picks they received for Eli Manning. So, it was all coming full circle, but something interesting happened on that same drive. There was already a strong feeling that the game would come down to a last-second field goal, so Jim Nance, trying to build it up, says this.
There's Nate Kading, who has not missed since he missed the 40-yard try, not missed at home.
Well, commentators curse, maybe. He probably shouldn't have said that. Kading, who had missed all year at home, I did it, was set to kick a 54-yard field goal to send this game into overtime and keep his team season alive. The kick went up, and he missed. Straight up, he missed. And just like that, San Diego's wonderful season was over. A season with so much promise was over just like that, ended by none other than the New England Patriots. A team who was surely, most likely going to win it all. It's a shame. This was an extremely bitter end to a season. LaDainian Tomlinson was not happy, as you can see. He went on to say, I would never ever react in that way, Tomlinson said after the game. You guys know me. I'm a very classy person. I would never have reacted like that. So yes, I was very upset because when you go to the middle of our field and you start doing the dance that Sean Merriman is known for, that is disrespectful to me. And I can't sit there and watch that. And yes, I was very upset. And just the fact of the way they showed no class at all, absolutely no class. And maybe it comes from the head coach. So, there you have it. There is video of what looks like to be Patriots players celebrating on the Chargers logo at the end of the game. It's hard to make out what they are exactly doing. You can't tell if they are doing the Merriman dance or not because the video cameras of 2007 absolutely sucked. But hold on, I found something. Way back in the first quarter after sacking Rivers, Titans head coach Mike Vrabel definitely did the dance. It's there.
This is the clearest video I've ever seen. This is the most HD ever. This is 4K.
Thompson has since regretted bashing Belichick, but back in 2013, he still believed the Pats were disrespectful. This obviously was a very significant game and a very significant loss. As stated before, so significant that in 2019, players from both sides were asked to revisit the game, with some of the Chargers players still left wondering what could have been. Lorenzo Neal was one in particular who you could tell still felt a certain way about what took place that afternoon. Regarding the McCree interception, it was over. We saw McCree intercepted and everyone was like, get down. If Marlon McCree falls down, we have the ball and we are winning. Instead, he took off running and everyone was like, get down. We have number 21 on our team, LaDainian Tomlinson. What are you trying to do? That is pride. Marty Schottenheimer, the coach, always said, when you end it, get on the ground. Let the guys who are paid to run the ball run the ball. For him to try to do that, it was a very, very selfish act. And the guys on the team understood that. We asked him why didn't he just fall. He said if he had to do it all over again, he would have done that. The next year, he was cut. Now, regarding the loss, Neal went on to say, it was a bad dream. You walk into the locker room and you're like, it's over. 14-2, unbelievable year, and this thing ended like that. It was our arrogance and our cockiness that lost the ball game. If those two teams would have played 9 times out of 10, we would have beat them. And that was the one time where we went out there and we were too arrogant, too cocky, and ended up turning the game into a dogfight that should have been. I absolutely agree. That shouldn't have been a dogfight. They should have walked all over the Patriots. I think the Chargers team was that good. They had 3 turnovers and still led most of the game, and they had the ability to force them as well. But it's not just me who thinks that this is one of the best teams to never win. This team was voted as the 95th greatest team of all time out of 100 by the NFL. I say that's pretty impressive for a team that never won a playoff game. So, unfortunately, that's why this video was made. To remember those who couldn't finish the job. We still remember you. May your team live on. This has been In Remembrance. Thank you guys for watching. We're going to do more of these videos for sure. I had a blast making this. Thank you guys for the support and just getting through this all the way if you did. Now, if you want to help me out, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps and it will really help my videos get out there. We want to build this community and tell these stories about the things that happened in the past. So thank you guys again. Have a fantastic day.